Wait. Did the screen stop? Oh no, it didn't. It actually changed. Oh, I didn't see it change. That's probably what's happening. Let me fix that. And also, why is the translation thing not working? Test 1, 2. Ah, that's probably why. Test. There we go. There we go. Alright. Little scuff here at the beginning, but I guess that's normal at this point. Alright. I don't know what that was about. I was just trying to clear my throat and I guess that's what came out. Let's see. Audio. Balance seems okay. But it's still a little loud on my end. Maybe I just need to lower my end a bit. Alright, we are good. Hey everyone, welcome to Mahjong at night, Mahjong after dark. Welcome to the food truck? Well, no, we don't do the food truck anymore. Welcome to this Mahjong podcast. Kind of sort of a podcast where we just kind of gather around the Mahjong table. If you got stories to tell, please share those stories. Anything good happen? Anything in particular that caught your eye? I want to hear about it. What else? I don't think I have much to speak about this week. I mean, there's like a couple of really huge things that happened yesterday. If you've heard about them, then you probably know what it is already. Other than that, no, nothing. I know there's a certain friend of mine that likes to hear me mauled and what is it? Air out my grievances for the week. I don't have anything in particular though. Yeah, no, I don't. I really don't have anything in particular. So before we get, I guess also if you want to play, this is a playing with chat stream, by the way. Let me know. We do need at least 2 people to start a game. And with that said, if we don't have anyone to start the game with, I'm going to go ahead with rank and try to come up with something to talk about, because I really should be writing stuff I need to talk about. But I don't have anything in particular. Except for, I mean, what kind of happened yesterday. So yesterday was a lot of stuff. Hey Amy, welcome. Let's see. Are you showing up in chat? Yes, you are. Good. I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. We are going to have a Batsu for today. No more of the plum, because that's all gone. I actually did have a little bit of the pickled plum left after the last stream. However, there were some fresh pickled plum that I still had from November. Now, I mean, it's pickled, it's fresh. It came in a little package from 7-Eleven in Japan. I think it would have still been fine. However, big however, technically it expired, and I probably shouldn't be eating that kind of thing when the expiration date has passed, pickled or not. Hey, Average Texan, welcome. How's it going? Yeah, so if you got anything you want to share for just, you know, something good happened to you, you want to, or something that you're looking forward to, please share them. Otherwise, the only thing I can really think about right now is what happened yesterday with Toriyama. If you haven't heard, the creator of DBZ has passed away. Yeah, that did happen, and I think it came as a shock to a lot of people when they heard that, because no one expected it coming anytime soon. Yeah, heard it from a student. Yeah, I kind of spend way too much time on Twitter to begin with, so that's where I first saw it, and I knew one of my friends was a huge Toriyama fan in particular, because they took a lot of inspiration from his art style. And apparently that's a lot of people also. I mean, I think not South America. Mexico in general is probably grieving also, because I don't know if you know this, but Mexico is a huge DBZ fan area. Like, pretty much DBZ is in their culture, just kind of like how Voltus 5 is in the culture of the Philippines. Dragon Ball Z is huge in Mexico. So I don't know how they're taking it. I haven't actually looked at any news regarding that. So that's a mystery to me. But yeah, it kind of happened suddenly. For anyone who doesn't know what actually happened to him, so I'll spare you the technical term that they actually put in the statement. But basically, what happened is there were a pool of blood collected in his head. And the only way that could have happened is from some sort of head injury. Now, when you think head injury, you're thinking, oh, it must have been like a really bad hit. It could be. It could be. And if you don't somehow treat that, the blood collects and, you know, it presses on your brain and that's a really bad condition to have. That spells death. That really does spell death. However, I think Toriyama was like around 68 years old or something. They didn't specify how it happened. They just said it happened, and this is what happened, which is perfectly fine. But the only way you can get that kind of condition is from an injury, supposedly. So, and apparently for anyone who's in his age range, it doesn't take much to cause said injury. So I guess any like even a medium hit could do it. I'm guessing maybe he slipped and fell. It's possible. But it's just really unfortunate that it happened the way it did, and everyone is I don't want to say grieving, though there is definitely some grief, especially with the family. But definitely, you know, it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real. Or, I'm sorry if that sounded like a laugh. That's just me coughing. But yeah, it just didn't seem real. So, rest in pieces. Sorry, rest in peace. And I don't know. Maybe a playthrough of a Dragon Quest or Chrono Trigger for In Memoriam is what do you call this? Is called for. I know a lot of people have been doing drawings and stuff. I can't think of what to do. I'll be honest though, Dragon Ball really hasn't been a huge thing for me, though I did watch it growing up, and I think after I don't even remember actually what happened in Dragon Ball per se. I just remember watching a little bit of Dragon Ball Z and a little bit of GT, even though I heard Toriyama had nothing to do with GT. It's still, you know, it's still Dragon Ball. It's still kind of credited to him as far as the series is concerned. But yeah, that's his art style is very unique. It's very unique. That's all I can say about that. That's all I can say. But yeah, apparently also there was another voice actress that also passed away yesterday. Maybe a lesser known name compared to Toriyama, but impactful nonetheless, especially if you've played the Danganronpa series. Apparently they voiced one of the main characters in that series, so that was interesting to learn about. I don't know, 2024 seems like it's definitely not holding any punches, but I feel like we're probably getting into that time where a lot of legends, so to say, are gonna be going one by one. If it hasn't happened already, they're gonna be going one by one. It's just kind of how do I say this? It's just kind of how time goes. Apparently, it's kind of scary to think about, but also sad to think about. But anyway, this is what happens also when I talk and I can't think of anything. It's just whatever happened recently, and that's what happened recently, and it just happened to be a sad thing. And I rather would not, but it's, you know, it's kind of important also. It's kind of important to think about. Other than that, I don't know. Anything happened to you guys recently? Anything you guys want to share? I'm just not entirely sure what to talk about. And this is kind of weird coming from the podcaster themselves, because it's like, what the heck? What the heck? What's the podcast about? I don't know. I'm just streaming. I'm just kind of just chilling, basically. Basically just chilling. I guess it's the Mahjong podcast, but it's also like, no, it's not really about Mahjong. It's just a Mahjong table. We just kind of gather around here and talk about random stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, if I haven't mentioned it already, we are streaming to both We are streaming to both YouTube and Twitch because... Oh, that's not me. Because, you know, that's just kind of how Mahjong nights are. So if you're not used to that, just FYI. Just FYI. We started our class talking about Toriyama because I literally asked, how was your morning? And my Japanese student was like, terrible. Ah, I see. I see. Yeah, he's like one of the he's like one of the biggest names, especially if you're familiar with Dragon Quest or Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is probably more popular here than it is in Japan. In Japan, it would be more like, if you know Dragon Quest, you know Toriyama, that kind of thing. I know in the West we like Final Fantasy more, or at least used to like Final Fantasy more, up to 7. I don't know if that's so much the case these days, but at the very least, yeah. Dragon Ball, and I don't know if Dragon Ball in particular is huge in Japan. It's definitely huge in Mexico, but definitely Dragon Quest is huge in Japan in particular. I've only played like a handful of Dragon Quest games, and I'll be honest, it's not really my style of game. It's like it's really old school, a little bit too turn-based for me. And I do like my turn-based games, my turn-based RPGs. It's kind of like, you know, very, very old school. Very, very old school. Dragon Ball is how everyone knows Toriyama in Japan? Really? That's interesting. I would have thought it was Dragon Quest. Yeah. He also made a couple of other... I say a couple of other... I think he has made other stuff other than the Dragon Ball series. I know that's what most people remember him for. But I don't think I've heard of any of them except for Sandlands. And Sandlands is getting a game. And I'm not sure when, but Sandlands is getting a game. And you might see some familiar character designs in Sandlands if you've been a fan of Dragon Ball, basically. So that's kind of what I found out when I was just flipping through Steam randomly, and I found something that looks like, oh hey, this looks like this kind of looks like Dragon Ball, and oh, it's called Sandlands, and apparently it's from a manga he did some time ago, but it's also still like some reused characters apparently, or at least some reused character designs, kind of like what Tezuka does. Tezuka, the guy that made Astro Boy, kind of thing. Student Leiden was the creator of Dragon Ball, passed away. Ah, okay. And I think the anime is more well known than games among the general populace. That would make much more sense. That would make much more sense. Yeah. Well, I think the manga would be, right? Not necessarily the anime. The funny thing with anime in Japan, from what I understand and what I have experienced, is that unless it's a kids anime, you're not going to see anime in Japan during prime time. Like, you'll probably see Yokai Watch and Precure in the morning. You'll probably see some Toku shows in the morning. However, you will not see the anime that we typically watch each season. Like, you know, the seasonal anime stuff. You won't see those during prime time. Apparently, those are aired really, really late at night. And when I say really late at night, at least midnight or later. Which is a weird thing if you think about it. But apparently, prime time is reserved for talk shows and baseball and variety shows, that kind of thing. It's not really, the anime is just like a very late night thing. And I haven't experienced that myself, but there was a manga report by another manga artist, basically showing them staying up late up night just to watch Madoka. I think it was what was it, like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and Madoka was airing, and it was like one of the last episodes of Madoka. So it's like, okay, they basically fell asleep and then woke up in time to watch that. Yeah, I mean, Japanese TV is Japanese TV is a little complicated, guys. I don't think I like Japanese TV. Japanese TV is sometimes good. Sometimes. But most of the time, it is not. Let me explain. Japanese TV is mostly variety shows. There is some news here and there. They don't put the news full blast like they do in the US typically, and some other countries. But it's mostly variety shows. It's sometimes food shows. They do a lot of food shows, actually. Some random nature documentaries, but it's like a weird nature documentary that like has a way too much sound effects and voiceovers. Think National Geographic, but with like cartoonish sound effects sometimes. It's like weird. It's very weird. I guess I kinda enjoy the food shows they have, and when I say food shows, I'm not talking like cooking shows. I'm talking like there's like a person or a group of people that go to some town in the middle of nowhere sometimes to look for a specific restaurant because, I don't know, they got a recommendation or something, or they found out somehow, and basically try the food that they have. And most of the time it's gonna be like glowing reviews and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever seen any bad food review stuff on TV in Japan. They just typically don't do that. If it's bad when they get there, they don't air it to begin with. At least I don't think they do. Holy crap. That's a sumo? That's gonna hurt. So that's the typical food stuff in Japan, the food shows. Are you serious? Are you serious? I didn't get hit directly once and I still got 4th place? This is gonna derank me. Oh yeah, I deranked. Oh, I knew this was gonna happen eventually. I didn't think it was gonna happen on stream. Okay, well, I'm taking a shot. I'm taking a shot. So I do have a batsu today for like taking 1 shot of alcohol if I get to 4th place. However, I feel like this is just natural, taking a shot for D-ranking from Adept 2 to Adept 1. I'm actually drinking. I mean, it's Mahjong night, right? Well, I don't drink normally, so FYI for everyone who doesn't really come to Mahjong night or is new to Mahjong night. I don't drink normally. The last time I've had a drink was maybe over 6 months ago, but I still have the sake that I tried not this past New Year, but the New Year before that, New Year 2023. Yes, New Year 2023. I still have 1 bottle of sake left from that time. I don't know if it's still okay, if it's still good taste-wise. I know this thing doesn't go bad. And it looks like I still have a good at least 20 shots from this thing left. For anyone who is curious what I have, let me see if I can find a picture of it. This is a Koji... Is it Koji? Koji Reserve Oku? Let's see. Taruzake. See if I can actually find it. Reserve Oku? Koji. Wait. This is from Austin Sake Company. Let me see. Texas Sake Company. Shop. Do you have it in the shop? I know their stock in the shop rotates every so often. Okay, they do not have a picture of this. Okay, I'm just gonna try to describe this as best as I can. This is a what do you call this? Barrel aged filtered sake, and it is a Toji Reserve Oku extremely limited release of our barrel aged premium filtered sake. 4 ingredients: rice, water, koji, and yeast. Base flavor. No, oh wait, I already read that. It's also called a still 4-grain whiskey. It's like a 4-grain whiskey sake apparently. Alcohol percentage 20%. And I'm just gonna take a shot on that. Hopefully I don't take too many shots tonight, because that's actually gonna make me a little bit too loopy. But yeah, 6 months. I'm not a drinker, guys. I'm not a drinker, but I will partake once in a while, and this is one of those times, and only because I lost. Whiskey sake, I guess is what I call it. I don't know if that's the actual term. I don't think that's the actual term. If I could actually show you Toji Reserve. If I can actually show you what it looks like. Oh, wait, I found a picture, though it is a really, really not great picture. It's kind of funny. For all the Japan talk I've been doing forever, I don't think I've actually ever had sake in Japan, which is kind of weird. But anyway, here it is. Here's the thing. This is what I am drinking. And it still tastes okay, actually. It goes down pretty smoothly. There's a little bit of a punch. It kind of tastes like a little bit of an oak barrel punch. I say that, and I don't actually remember what oak tastes like. But it goes down smoothly. That's the important thing. It doesn't feel like it's gonna kick me in the face. I could actually take another shot of that, but I will not do that unless I actually lose. And now that I had a little alcohol in my system, let's see what the heck comes out of this, because you never know. You ever know. I conjured the whiskey idea out of thin air. No, I think I said also whiskey sake, because it said 4-grained whiskey. Let me double check. Yeah, it actually did say whiskey. 4-grain whiskey is what this says, but it technically is sake. So calling it whiskey sake is probably not out of the question. All right. I know we have at least one person who wants to play or can play. Who does anyone else want to join the game? Because we need at least 2 people to start a room. And if you don't know Mahjong, just that's also fine. That's also fine. Let me just go ahead and put one up really quick. Oh no. Don't tell me I'm already affected. Please don't tell me I'm already affected. Okay. Let's start with this. If we only have one person in the room, I guess we can do like a quick 3-player thing really quick, and then I can go back to doing ranked afterwards if we only have one person, and wait for another person to come in to play and stuff. But yeah, anyway. This should not be happening. Well, I mean, as far as the alcohol, I'm talking about the alcohol right now. I don't know how you guys are with alcohol. I'm like I get sleepy. I get sleepy when I drink, but it takes me like 2 or 3 shots before that happens. So it's not like terrible. It's not terrible, but you know there's a sweet spot for being super alert, super productive with tiredness and sleepiness and drunkenness before the bad stuff kicks in, and I might just be right underneath the optimal performance as far as alcohol goes. If I go over that, then I start getting sleepy. But I also took like half a shot, so what is that? What actually is that? Anyway. Okay, let me just sorry, I'm gonna remake the room. Let's do a 3-player one really quick, and then I'll go back to rank if we don't have someone else to join. I am drinking water right afterwards so that I don't get too dehydrated, because alcohol dehydrates, and the reason why you get drunk is because you are dehydrated. At least I think that's how it works. And to prevent hangover is not all these hangover cures, though soup helps because it does help with hydration. You just need to drink water. Honestly, just drink more water and you prevent getting hangover. I don't think I've actually ever gotten a hangover now that I think about it. I have, however, if not a hangover, then I have gotten drunk enough in one night where I had a little trouble walking back. I may have told this story before, but for anyone who hasn't heard it, I am more than willing to tell it again. But basically, there was this one time, not the last trip now, but the trip before that in 2019, before the pandemic hit. I was in an izakaya. Actually, was it an izakaya? No, it wasn't an izakaya. It was basically a pork skewer place. So you hear of yakitori a lot, right? So this is a yakiton place. So this is a pork skewer place. But they don't do just pork. They also do veggies and pretty darn good grilled veggies. I think I tried the shiitake one time, and I actually could eat a lot more shiitake than whatever meat they had. Actually, shiitake was so good in that place. I want more. I want more of it. Anyway, basically, first time I went there on recommendation from the. Let's call that person the innkeeper, which doesn't exist anymore. Apparently they closed down during the pandemic, which kind of makes sense. A lot of places closed down, accommodations, attractions, whatnot. Oh, if this was a normal game, that would be like insta-kill, or close to insta-kill. Not quite though, not quite. But yeah, let's see. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so they recommend this. They recommended this chicken skewer, not chicken skewer, the meat skewer place around the neighborhood. It was a neighborhood inn basically, and I went to the restaurant on a recommendation, which was a very good recommendation. The meat was really good. Everything was grilled perfectly. The non-meat stuff was also really good. And I wasn't planning to have a drink that night. Like I said, I'm not a drinker to begin with. I will do it once in a while. And if I was going to be drinking that night, I was only going to be drinking like maybe one small drink, and that was it. But originally I wasn't going to drink at all. However, the guy next to me, the guy sitting next to me to my right, in this little corner, in this little shop, basically could tell that I was not from around there. I mean, other than, you know, I had to ask if there was an English menu, because at the time I really couldn't read the menu too well. I might be able to do better now, but I had a hard time reading the menu. And you know, he talked me up. He was an old guy, probably in his 50s or 60s, probably in the 60s. He looked, or older. He looked retired. And oh, that's scary. And basically he recommended a drink on the menu. I told him I don't drink, and he said it wasn't alcoholic. It was not alcoholic. He promised me. He promised me this, by the way. And so I believed him, okay? Just because he's an old guy in an izakaya. Maybe be careful what they say. But I believed him, and I picked a drink called Hoppy. Now, technically, Hoppy is not alcoholic. It does have a little bit of alcohol at 0.5%, which is barely anything. I could probably drink quite a few of those and still not feel anything because it's so low, as opposed to a strong zero, which is 9% alcohol, and you can get that easily in the convenience stores, which I have tried once, only once, in my previous trip last year, and holy crap, that thing hit like a truck. Sorry, Amy. Sorry, Amy. we had to do it to you. Ooh, that's painful. It's a drunk buff. It's a drunk buff. So the effects of alcohol is 50-50. It either affects me very like it's either a buff or a debuff. Right now it's in the buff zone. So also a little bit of luck. It doesn't necessarily affect skill, it affects mostly luck. So okay, I'm gonna go back into rank. I don't think I'll be able to rank back up to where I was, but I'm gonna try. But anyway, if we get a second person to say that they're interested in playing with us, then I will open the friendly rooms again. But yeah, we'll see. I still want to do that one idea I had where I play 2 Mahjong games at one time. I don't know when I'm going to do that, but I still want to do it. Because trying to do 2 Mahjong games at one time sounds crazy, and it is crazy. Because trying to figure out all that on the fly is not good. Anyway, back to the bar story. I call it a bar. It's a skewer place. But, I mean, those places that serve alcohol, it may as well be a bar. Anyway, we got the Hoppy, right? Hoppy is basically as it sounds. It's basically the hoppy taste from beer, which I do not like. It's probably one of the main reasons why I do not like beer. I'm not a beer drinker, guys. I despise the taste of beer. It just tastes absolutely terrible. The only beer I probably can tolerate, just barely, is Orion from Okinawa. And I think that is classified as a pale pilsner. It is a very light beer in taste, but it's still bitter as heck. But it's honestly the only thing I can handle. I tried a Guinness once. I did not try a Guinness. I tried a Sapporo once, which supposedly a lot of people like. Beer drinkers anyway. A lot of people seem to like Sapporo. I tried it and holy crap, that was a little bit too strong for me personally. And it just made me realize how much I did not like beer. Another friend of mine tried to get me to like sour beers, which is mostly crafted beers. Especially in the place I used to live, there's a lot of craft breweries, and we went there one time to try some sour beers, and they just kind of tasted like sour pale water, for a lack of description, because that's just kind of how it was. It was not great. It was not great. Not my favorite thing ever. Orion's pretty nice. Orion's well, I shouldn't say nice. It's okay. Orion is okay for a beer that for a class of drinks I do not particularly like. Orion is okay. But hoppy is basically the hoppy taste from beer, and non-alcoholic, more or less. I mean, there is technically non-alcoholic beer, which some people would probably ask, why even bother getting non-alcoholic beer? I don't know. I've never tried non-alcoholic beer. But it exists for some people who want to drink beer but cannot drink it because of alcohol. Am I okay? Wait, what did I put in the title? I just want things to be normal. Oh. Well, 2024 has been a rough year so far, and we're only in the beginning of March. But I also made that title earlier this week when things seemed a little bit more bleak. Though I guess yesterday, while not necessarily bleak, things still took a downturn yesterday with Toriyama. So it's like, okay. It's like, I didn't think it to change the title again. Hello, Ruby, anyway. Hello. But yeah, hoppy, right? But the thing with hoppy is you don't drink it straight. I don't think most people drink that straight anyway. The hoppy that I ordered in the restaurant came with another bottle, which I did not know at a time was what came with the hoppy. Basically, the guy next to me, the guy that recommended the hoppy, told me to mix the hoppy into the other drink, which is the one that I was supposed to drink. Or was it the other way around? I'm not entirely sure. It might have been the hoppy into the other drink that came with the hoppy. Which, you know, I have to admit, doing that made it taste good. What I didn't realize is the other drink was sochu. And sochu is basically, I think, alcoholic potato. It's made from potatoes. I think it's made from potatoes. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. Soju is the fruity stuff from Korea. Sochu, I think, is potatoes. Basically Japanese vodka, I guess. Except I don't think it's as high alcoholic percentage as vodka. But you mix hoppy into that, which I didn't realize was alcoholic. And I basically went 2 rounds on that from peer pressure from an old guy. And I mean, I could still see straight. I could still walk straight, but I was definitely very wobbly on the way back to the inn. And the innkeeper noticed that I wasn't quite the same as when I left earlier. It's like, what happened to you, basically? It's like, I got someone recommended me Hoppy and I got drunk off it, and it's like, okay, get some rest. Basically, get some rest. But yeah, I mean, it was still a fun experience. And if I had a choice, maybe I would actually get it again. It was actually not bad. But I wasn't planning to drink that night, so that was also another thing. I mean, drinking is fine. I just don't do it because I want, just because, you know, I don't like the drunk feeling, to be honest. I don't know. Do people enjoy actually getting drunk? Do people actually enjoy that? I mean, it's not my thing. It really is not my thing. I like being sober, though I do admit just a little bit of alcohol is just a little bit of alcohol does help the courage a little bit. It does help keep conversations flowing, but I don't like using it too much. You know what I mean? Being drunk is too fun. It's also bad for your liver if you drink too much. And some people just can't drink at all for, what do you call this? Health reasons, if not religious. Let's just say mostly health reasons. There's escapism for everything. Mine is owning books I'll never read. Really? What kind of books do you get? And why will you never read them? I'm curious about that. I guess my my way of escapism is games and anime. I feel like that's a lot of people's escapism these days, which isn't bad unless you get, you know, too into it and kind of just lose touch of reality. Though, let's be honest, who doesn't want to lose touch of reality more than once? More than once. Or, you know, some people's escapism or form of entertainment is, you know, drawing. But I guess those are safer than, you know, getting too drunk. Getting too drunk has way too many drawbacks. Me personally. Currently, The Tower. I'll never read, not because I don't want, but because I'm reading Journey to the West for the 118th time. Really? I don't know anything about The Tower, but Journey to the West. How big is that story, I guess? Because I mean, Journey to the West has been adapted into a lot of stuff. Dragon Ball being one of them, of course. But also just a bunch of dramas, movies, and whatnot. I guess games too, if you think about it. It's kind of one of those things from ye olde days that still survives now, which is kind of interesting if you think about it. It's like how many really old works of literature actually survive now. I don't think I've ever been a book reader, and the main reason is it used to be required reading. It used to be required reading during my early school days, and you had to like read a certain amount of books, get certain amount of points based on the books that you read, and I never enjoyed that. I was also a very slow reader, and when I say I'm a slow reader, I read at a pace of like 20 pages an hour, typically 20 pages an hour, because that's how much attention I put into the words I was reading. But I'll be perfectly honest, I understood almost none of it 90% of the time, because my mind at the time was just not mature enough to understand what the heck was going on. And I guess that kind of still is me right now. with the oblivious part. I don't like reading things I don't like to read, which I feel like that's people in general. That's just people in general. Yeah, I was basically zoning out. Most of the time I was zoning out when I read those, and they were good sleep aids, but that's not why I pick up a book. These days, I mean, I read a lot of manga, but I guess that wasn't counting as reading back in the day. I also read a lot of random articles, like articles about space, articles about just anything basically that catches my interest. Not as big. When I was a teenager, I read Moby Dick for the sole purpose of bragging rights. I feel J. West is a much newbie-friendly book to literature. I thought Moby Dick was like a really short story for some reason. Like, probably no longer than 100 pages. And for some reason, I also thought Moby Dick was like a poem. But when I say a poem, I'm reminded that Siegfried supposedly was also a poem, but it was gigantic. Absolutely gigantic. You read that bridge? Moby Dick is 800 pages long? Oh, I did not realize it was 800 pages long. I don't think I actually read Moby Dick. I don't think I've actually seen how big the book was. Maybe I'm thinking of Metamorphosis. I know Metamorphosis was actually pretty short. That was... What did I used to read, actually? I think the only book I read that I somewhat enjoyed was... What was it? Don Quixote. And I didn't find out until recently that Don Quixote was 2 books. I know I only read 1 book of Don Quixote. I read 1 book of Don Quixote. I also read, I think, all of Narnia. Can't tell you what any of that was about. Supposedly Narnia was very Christian in theme. I did not pick up on any of that theme when I read it. I just read it as a fantasy novel, and it was perfectly fine. Still didn't understand what the heck I was reading. Keep in mind, this was me in maybe around middle school / elementary. And I didn't bother reading it again in high school just because I absolutely hated it. I hated the thought of reading a book unless it was required. I think one of the last books I remember reading was Jane Eyre and Grapes of Wrath. And Grapes of Wrath had nothing to do about grapes whatsoever. I guess it kind of had something to do with grapes if you're thinking about the grape farmers and such, but no, it doesn't have anything to do with angry grapes or anything like that. Jane Eyre was interesting to me because I remember reading it. I remember being very infuriated when I read it. Because there was this girl, and Jane Eyre is basically about a woman, I guess, in either the 17 or 1800s, one of those times, and she basically gets treated really, really badly. At least in the beginning of the book. I don't remember how the later part of the book went, but she gets really, really treated badly by everyone for things that she really didn't do, from what I understand anyway. And I never understood it. I really don't understand. I never really understood it. And I don't know. I just don't like those kind of stories, I guess. Jane Eyre is one of those books where they fall in love with a toxic guy. Really? It's that kind of story? I did not even realize that. Don Quixote, read the abridged and loved it, then bought the full version and haven't opened the collector box ever since. Great environment enhancer though, yeah. I remember Don Quixote being at least vaguely interesting, but also a little bit weird. Especially during during the ending. I don't think there's necessarily spoilers, but basically, I'm just gonna maybe spoil question mark a little bit of Don Quixote. You'll probably never read it anyway, so is it really spoilers? But basically, he's kind of insane throughout the entire book, and I guess he gets some sort of clarity near the end of it. And that's perfectly fine. What I didn't understand was why everyone was suddenly celebrating this guy at the very end of the story. It's like, okay, I'm confused. I'm confused. So it's like he was lauded as a sage or something like that, and apparently he just got sane near the end of the book, and that was enough apparently to make people say, yeah, good. He lost a match so bad he became mentally well. Is that what happened? I don't remember anymore, but I guess if you say so. I don't know. I just felt like it was a really weird ending. But I guess it was basically misadventures of a senile old person trying to I guess not relive anything, because he never relived anything. He basically just read a bunch of medieval books and thought he was a knight. I think that's what it was. Alright, I'm gonna go again in ranked unless we have another person. So cannot ranked not match. Oh, is there? You cannot enter this room with your current rank. Ah, I see. So I have to do these. That's fine. I was just kind of curious what these were. Yeah. But no, as far as actually picking up a book, I know a lot of people have recommended me books to pick up throughout the years. They recommended me Dune. They recommended me Wheel of Time. They recommended me... What else did they recommend me? A bunch of other fantasy novels and sci-fi novels that I just have zero interest in because of my past experiences with books in general. If you recommend me a manga, I am more likely to pick that up than I would to pick a book. At least I don't have to like strain my imagination trying to figure out what the heck these people look like, what the heck is going on, what does the place look like, and all that stuff. Because everything is drawn for me. Everything is drawn for me, and the only thing I had to figure out from there is context clues by what the author and or artist want me to pick up on, which is perfectly fine. I am better at doing that than trying to pick out words. Though I'm a lot better at picking out words these times, except for maybe some novels. I still have PTSD from reading a lot of Charles Dickens books, which, let's be honest, was horribly, horribly dry. Charles Dickens' books was horribly dry, and if you think about how they're written, they're basically written at a time where I think he published them in a periodical of some sort, and the longer the work, the more money you get. So basically, authors will, what do you call this? Write stuff for money anyway. That's kind of how they make money, right? But I don't know how the heck it ever got so popular. I don't understand. Though the Christmas Story was a pretty good story, not gonna lie. There was that. The village priest decided to make a plan to beat Don Quixote in his own games. If he gets beaten by another knight, he has to follow duty and retire. He lost to a disguised priest. Ah, so that's what happened. I think I need to reread that again. Though I kind of wish they made a Don Quixote manga, because I feel like that would be funnier. I don't know. I feel like it'd be funnier. And they succeeded in bringing Don Quixote back home, but by then he was already dying of old age. Well, I figured that was the case. Yeah. Oh, you were the one who recommended me Dune. I could have sworn it was also someone else. I have a lot of friends, other friends that like to what do you call this? They like to recommend me random books. I know audiobooks is like a popular way to do it, and I probably would be open these days to do that, especially if I'm like doing a long drive or something, or you know, just working and like listening to the audiobook on my phone as I work. But I feel like I miss a lot of details when I do that I would otherwise have caught if I was actually paying attention to it like 100%. Though I understand that's how people can, like that's the only way how people can get through books is by listening to other people read the books. Which kind of makes me wonder, should I do an audiobook kind of thing on this channel? The other book I kind of enjoyed, only because I liked its theme, was which one was it? The Divine Comedy, Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. But anything past Inferno honestly was like a bit of a bore. Honestly, it was a bit of a bore, but it still was interesting to a degree. Also, I was interested in that because I was in the marching band during high school, and we played the music that was arranged for those songs. So it's like, okay, let's go read the books also. And it was mildly interesting. I did not understand any of the, I guess, political references that were made, because that was made, what, in the 1600s or something like that? Really old. Basically, it was a commentary against everyone that the author had beef with. And yeah, but I mean, it was still interesting to say the least. That's the beauty of fiction. What was that about? Reading manga is fine. Yeah, I mean, I just like manga better in general. Claymore is better than the biggest majority I've ever read, and it's a manga. I don't think I've ever actually seen Claymore at all. Not an anime, not a manga. I've heard a little bit about it. I know nothing about Claymore. Hello, Suri-chan. Suri-chan, konnichiwa. Divine Comedy, the best self-insert in history. Self-insert so bad Dante made the people he admired be in a book and admire Dante not be, really. I mean, I understand. It was a self-insert. I understood that. I think the guy was also in exile at the time when he wrote it, which was funny in a way. It was funny in a way. But the beauty of prose fiction is that you can use your imagination. I understand that. It's just my imagination is not very good. It's also probably one of the reasons why I can't draw very well. Once you see a book made into a movie, it often ruins it because it's not like you imagine. I hear that a lot, actually. I hear that a lot, especially when Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter came out. Yeah, that was definitely one of the complaints I heard. It's like, this is not how I imagined. Oh, they also skipped this part in Lord of the Ring. But was it really that important? I don't know. I sometimes question the content in a book and how much of it is padding and how much of it is actual content that is relevant to the plot. It's not just books though that's guilty about that. Manga also do that. Manga, light novels, what have you, works of literature in general. Movies, I think in general, tend to be a little bit better with direction because they have such limited time to do it. However, sometimes they get a little bit too formulaic because of that. And if you know the, I guess, the setting and the director sometimes, and people involved in general, then you can kind of guess how things are gonna go, but you try not to guess. If you like little details, Harry Potter definitely looks like a Harry Potter book would look. Did Harry Potter have a design, I guess, before the movie was made? I do know you lose a lot in movies because you only have so much time to do it. Otherwise, you end up with something gigantic like the Titanic. Titanic, I think, was a movie original anyway, so that's a different story. Still really like movies in general. Always prefer reading the book versions of everything. Yeah, original source for a lot of things is good. Which reminds me, I think I mentioned this last time, or maybe the time before that. Shrek was a book, and I did look up a little bit of what the original Shrek was like, and it was a little bit weird. And this is like supposed to be a children's book, by the way. But I think the thing you can find on Shrek on Google, if you look, is some preview pages, and one of the preview pages is him running into a peasant in the fields, and Shrek is fairly eloquent for compared to the movie counterpart. However, also, you know, the author likes to rhyme a lot, so it is a children's book, so you do get a lot of rhyming that Shrek doesn't do in the movie. Shrek movies were better than the kids' books. I mean, kids' books are kids' books. I don't think anyone's going to say kids' books are a work of art, for the most part. Maybe some are. I haven't found one that is, unless you count Dr. Seuss. Because with Dr. Seuss, it's not just kids' books. It's not just for children. I guess it's also, there's a little bit of, what do you call this? There's a little bit of adultness in Dr. Seuss, where even if a adult reads it, you know, they can pick up on some stuff too. I don't know. I feel like Dr. Seuss did a bunch of wartime allegories and whatnot, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I'm gonna blame it on the alcohol for my rambling on that stuff. Daniel Radcliffe is definitely a Harry Potter based on the cover design. Oh, is that what his name is? I never realized that the actor that played Harry Potter, his name was Daniel Radcliffe. I thought Daniel Radcliffe was another guy. Okay. To my defense, I don't pay attention to actors' names in general. There's only probably a handful of people I know by their actor names, and that would have to be Macaulay Culkin. Who else? Jim Carrey, Morgan Freeman, Tom Hanks, Robin Williams, rest in peace, and I think that's it. No, oh no. There's Tom Hanks, Will Smith. There's also Will Smith. Is Will Smith more of an actor? I guess he's more of an actor, now that I think about it. That's more than I thought I knew, actually. For some reason, I can't remember any women actors, but I can remember most of the guys. Which is... why is that? Adam Sandler, yeah, him too. Except, I don't know. I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan. I'll be perfectly honest. So I don't know. His movies are weird. Adam Sandler movies are weird. It's International Women's Day. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. To some actors, it's the opposite. For example, Adam Sandler is just Adam Sandler no matter what movie. Was Adam Sandler in Zoolander?
No.
He was in Zoolander, right? Kate Winslet was a woman in Titanic. I did not know this. Was Kate Winslet in any other movie besides Titanic? Ben Stiller. Okay, he's a weird guy. Which one's Adam Sandler then? What's a movie Adam Sandler was in? Because I'm trying to remember. I'm really bad with names. I hope you can tell. I hope you can tell I'm really bad with names. What? I honestly don't know. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry. The only people I know names of are the people I work with, close friends, and even people in chat because all I see are your names, so I have to remember them that way. I don't see faces, guys. I guess if I look at YouTube, I can see I can see your icons, but on my chat pop out right now, I cannot see that. I can only see red YouTube labels. So I need to know your names. In general, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is an amazing Kate Winslet Jim Carrey movie. I have never heard of that movie. Anagram of Doobie, as in dubious? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay, famous women actors. I guess it is International Women's Day, which I didn't realize. Famous women actors. Name some from movies I may have seen. So dubious. Oh crap, I screwed myself. No! Oh no, there's a dead hand. Oh, there's a dead hand. This is why cheese are dangerous. Do not do that. Well, objective survive? Yeah, objective survive at this point. Oof. Anyway.
No.
Oh yeah, I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger was also in movies until he became governor, and then he doesn't do that anymore. Because I was for some reason one of the Batman movies showed up in my head, and him as Mr. Freeze. Probably know more actresses than you think. I can't name any one of them. That's the problem. I can't name any one of them. I may know some. I just can't name any of them. Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that was said very badly. Schwarzenegger? Schwarzenegger. I think he's Austrian. I'm not entirely sure. But it's a really long and very, to me, hard to pronounce name. I'm trying to think. Let me think. You thought it was German? It probably is German. I mean, the thing about Austria and Germany is they're kind of right next to each other, so they kind of share the same language. If you're in Austria, you probably know German anyway. I think they do speak German in Austria. So you wouldn't be wrong that it may be German, because I mean they're both kind of like right next to each other. Yeah, now that I think about it, it could be. Kate Winslet. Honestly, I can't think of any movies other than what you mentioned, and I don't know any of those. Besides Titanic. Oh, I know one. Oh, I just remembered one. Crap, what was her actual name? What was her... Who... Okay, Golden Girls. Who is Rose Nyland in Golden Girls? What was her actual name? Betty White? I know Betty White. You know, I watched the only reason why I ever watched the Golden Girls is because, you know, my mom watched it whenever it came on, and it was like one of those old shows that just keeps on playing on TV on reruns and stuff. And I never understood it, but even as a kid, I felt the humor was interesting. It was a very interesting set of humor, even as a kid. And Betty White in that show, I mean, she's kind of a ditz airhead, but if you see her in any other media, namely in movies, because that's where she usually shows up, she's basically a tough, foul-mouthed grandma, which is a huge contrast from what you see in the TV show. But she's great at it. She was really great at it. So it's like hard. It's hard to like, you know. It's hard to say. It's hard to like. It's still hard for me personally to separate the Golden Girls version and what she actually is like. But she's a rough one. She's a tough one. The only reason I know the name Dakota Fanning is because she's the one that made me realize I'm bisexual. Really? Who's Dakota Fanning? Where'd she show up? For some reason, when you say Dakota Fanning, I think of Tomb Raider? They did make a Tomb Raider movie. I've never seen any of it though. Never seen any of the Tomb Raider movies. I don't know if they're any good, to be honest. Oh, that's Angelina Jolie? Dang, I don't even know what she looks like. Guys, this is how bad I am. This is how bad I am at remembering faces, unless somehow they just kind of stick in my mind. I don't know. Is there something wrong with me and just remembering women's faces in general? I mean, I'm pretty sure if I saw them in real life, I could probably tell them apart. But for some reason, it's not clicking when it's the movie stuff, and I do not know why. I think it's everyone's faces, to be honest. I think it's everyone's faces. Ryan Gosling, I think I know who he is, but I'm gonna have to like double check. Is Ryan Gosling the guy that kind of sounds like a duck, the Aflac duck? Just not a movie buff? That's also probably true. Speaking of not a movie buff related, with anime, you know how a lot of people can tell the voices and like the different voice actors apart in anime? I cannot. The only one I can maybe pick out is whoever voices Gintoki from Gintama. That's it. And the only reason why is because his voice barely changes from one role to another. Everyone else sounds very similar to me. Joji Nakata? I feel like he sounds like another guy, and I don't even remember his name, so I can't pick him out. Though if you told me he was Joji, I'd believe you, because he does have a voice, but I can't tell. I still can't tell. Ryan Gosling is Canadian. Comes up a lot in conventions. Oh wait, I think I know who you're talking about. Is he like the bald guy? He's bald, right? Hey Lacats, welcome. We're talking about movies right now, and apparently I'm really bad. I'm really bad about remembering some people's faces and such. So yeah, it's a thing. Ghost in the Shell. I've actually not watched Ghost in the Shell. Margot Robbie. Nope, I've actually not watched Ghost in the Shell. I may have watched Ghost in the Shell. I just don't remember any of it. The live action movie, right? I may have watched it at one point, but I really didn't pay too much attention. I think the only thing I kind of paid attention to Ghost in the Shell was, is it kind of sort of like the original story? And having not watched the original Ghost in the Shell, I probably shouldn't have thought that, but I thought it was okay. But from what I heard from other people, it wasn't actually that good. I don't know. Drive. I don't think I've ever heard of Drive. Scarlett Johansson is in Ghost in the Shell. I know that name. I know that name. I don't know what she looks like, but I know that name. Margot Robbie, Barbie and Ken. Oh, you know, from the recent Barbie movie. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. I barely even remember what the posters look like. Harley Quinn? Which Harley Quinn? There's a lot of Harley Quinns. Maybe I just like blondes. You probably do. Probably do. What do I... Blondes really aren't my thing, to be honest. They're not bad. They're just not my thing. I think I like brunettes and black hair better, if we're talking about hair color. But it really depends on the person themselves, you know? It really depends on the person themselves, how it suits them and stuff like that. Well, I guess it's just the person themselves. Hair color doesn't really matter. Hairstyle, though, if it's hairstyle, I do have a weakness when it comes to hairstyle. Really messy, wavy hair. I think some people call that sex hair. I like that. I like that. I find that really, really attractive. Super attractive. Like, if anyone knows Kaoru from Amigami, that kind of hair. Actually, I think now that I think about it, that artist draws a lot of hair messy to begin with. So I have a type, I guess. I have a type, so they say. Maybe I can finally join your Mahjong session starting next week. Oh, nice! Yeah, I guess you've been pretty busy recently, the cats, haven't you? Well, I'm glad that you finally can find time. I'm still in rank right now, so after this one, we can open up the rooms. And open up the rooms for a friendly match. Himicut. I use it and love when people use it. It's like my jam. Straight bangs that hide your eyebrows. Nice. Himikat's pretty good, actually. But I think Himikat's better on, like, I don't know. Himicut isn't just a blunt bangs, right? Himicut is like at least blunt bangs and somewhat long-ish hair. I think it's supposed to go at least shoulder length or something, though typically if you have a himicut, it's also like decently long hair, from what I understand. I know there used to be like a definition of how hairstyles are typically, I don't know. I may just be imagining that. Speaking of bangs, though, bangs or forehead? What's everyone's preference in chat? Bangs or forehead? Because I've been seeing some forehead, like big forehead designs recently in anime and manga and games in general, and it's like, really? Gigantic forehead? It's a thing. It's a thing. That's the thing about nice hands, they don't materialize sometimes. But hey, at least I'm second place. Slightly recovering from my D ranking from earlier today. Big forehead, big brains. Not necessarily big brains, just big forehead as a character design. like a very prominent forehead for some reason. Okay. No. Link. Here we go. Okay, for anyone who wants to join, room is open for the regular rooms. If you don't know how to play Mahjong and you want to play, feel free to join in. Feel free to join in. Let's see. Used to have bangs all the time, but now have none at all. Single length from now. Himika. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Legendary 5-head. Really want to join but can't? Ah, okay. Okay. Alright then. Not Ruby. Oh, we got someone. Nice, nice. Do we have a person for 4th really quick? If we don't, I'll go ahead and put the AI in. I don't know how many games will I be able to do. I think we might be able to do at least 1 or 2. We'll see. Alright, AI is in. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've seen any mention of any movies recently that a lot of people liked. However, there has been a lot of movies that people didn't like. Which I think is mostly the... Like, I don't know. I know me and my friends talked about this to some degree. And I think superhero movies need to go. We've had them around for way too long. And they need to go. Or at least be not as frequent as they have been for the past almost 15 years from what I understand. It's like, I get it. I get it. Marvel has this whole cinematic universe they want to do. DC is fumbling as far as I can tell with their own cinematic universe. But we don't need a superhero movie every single year for the past 14 years. And sometimes even multiple superhero movies in 1 year. It just gets tiring after a while. It really does. I think for a lot of people, the last superhero movie they watched was Endgame, the Avengers Endgame. And anything after that just has been not as good. Which, understandable, to be honest, understandable. Me personally, I still kind of like the Iron Man movies. Iron Man in general is pretty nice. I guess Guardians was also pretty good. But when you start doing Avengers stuff, it gets a little bit too convoluted because now with the Avengers, you're trying to put all these different franchises together, but it still ends up being an Iron Man movie at the end of the game. Not at the end of the day. So it's kind of like, eh. Spider-Verse? I actually haven't seen any Spider-Verse. However, I do have another friend that did watch the Spider-Verse, and I guess both the Spider-Verse movies, the first one and the second one, and liked both of them a lot. I had the chance, I think, to watch the first one during my flight to and from Japan this past trip, and I didn't do it. I just didn't feel like it, to be honest. I think it's also the one trip where I didn't watch a lot of movies at all. Usually I watch a few movies. I try to go through the foreign section. Like there's actually a foreign section of movies in the airplane. And I try to also watch some Japanese movies that seem interesting. And I think I only watched one movie throughout the entire thing. It was not Japanese. What did I watch? I'm trying to remember. For some reason, I thought it was going to be One Piece. I thought One Piece was going to be on the flight. One Piece was not on the flight, so I didn't watch One Piece. It wasn't Shrek. It wasn't a Disney movie, though they had a lot of Disney selection. I feel like it wasn't a superhero movie. Darn it! What did I watch? Actually, I'm trying to think. I can't remember. I can't remember. What did I watch? If I remember it, I'll let you know. But I only watched one movie, and I basically just slept the entire time. Basically, other than breakfast and dinner. Ouch. Amy, is this revenge from earlier? Is this revenge from earlier? I'm not sorry, but is this revenge from earlier? Let's see. Trying for revenge? Okay. Okay. You have every right to do the revenge, but yeah. Skibidi? What the heck is Skibidi? What the heck is Skibidi? The only thing I know about Skibidi is a guy's head coming from a toilet, and for some reason I felt like that was a really old thing, and I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Do I want to understand it? I don't know. I actually had it wasn't a hard time necessarily. It was more like a defeatist is not what I want to say. But it was more like something along the lines of, what the heck is GAT? I do not want to look it up. It was something to the effect of that I asked on Twitter, basically. What the heck is GAT? How the heck did GAT come about? GAT does not make sense. Riz at least somewhat makes sense when you explain it to me. GAT has zero things that make sense with it. It's kind of like yeet, though I think yeet used to mean something else, and yeet is now known as throwing something. I feel like that's not how yeet originally was, but it doesn't matter anymore. A really big booty. A really big booty, that's GAT? Really? Because holy crap, are we just talking about really big good booty, or are we talking really big fat booty? Because there's a difference between the two. And honestly, the only time I notice someone's booty is if they're like gigantically huge. Not in a good way, a lot of times. Still a little confused what yeet means. I was for the longest time until people settled on just tossing something with force. I think that's what yeet means. Tossing something with some force. With a lot of force, even. It's a booty that makes you say, "God damn." Oh, I see. Whatever booty you enjoy is a gat. Huh. It can be tossing something away, but also tossing something to you. If I'm understanding correctly, yeet is generally tossing something away, not necessarily tossing something to someone. It's more of a, what do you call this? It's more like an away action rather than a passing action. Though that might be a little bit overthinking with what yeet is supposed to mean. But all I remember about yeet is it used to be this random thing someone shouted at one point. It may have involved throwing. It may have. And then I guess some people got confused along the way, and now we just kind of settled on definition, which I'm fine with. Totally fine with settling with that. Ruby victory, we'll see about that. So far, you are on the road to some sort of victory. That is if you can keep your hand straight, sure. Oh, and unless you have something specific in your hand, I think your hand is dead. I'm gonna call your hand is probably dead. But I don't know what else you have in your hand, so I can't say for sure. But right now, I have no reason to fear. None whatsoever. It's not? We'll see about that. We'll see about that. We have 15 tiles until this round is over. Yes. Okay. Man. I'm starting to own up that I'm like 30 plus. I'm starting to own up that I'm 30 plus on stream, but still it's like, I do not want to say my age. I'm only willing to say, yes, I am 30 plus. But also a very maybe immature 30 plus, but that's okay. The AI one, we're gonna have to see in the replay what your hand is. Because I'm very curious if you... Yeah. It's okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I was about to ask, whose turn is it? Whose turn is it? It was you. It was you. Let me see, what am I thinking of? There are no game announcements this week that I can think of. Oh, I guess there's one game announcement this week, but I don't think it's in anyone's interest as far as the channel is concerned. Well, not the channel is concerned, the current chat is concerned. But it is a game I have played, I guess, the demo of on this channel, so when that comes out, it's gonna be good times for me, though I don't know if I'll probably play it on stream. I'll probably play it on stream. That's the only thing I can think of that happened recently. What game is it? So if you know about this this gacha game called Girls Frontline, it is a game that came before the gacha game called Codename Bakery, otherwise known as Bakery Girl. Bakery Girl is basically a strategy RPG. Think like Final Fantasy Tactics, think Tactics Ogre, think those grid-based RPGs. However, it doesn't play like any of those. It is mostly a very not involved is probably not the right word. It is a very tactics heavy SRPG. Some SRPGs you can like go through the game, over level, and breeze through really easily that way. You can't really do it with this one. It's more like everything will always kill you, and you have to find the best way to go through the game without getting killed, one, of course, and do it within set time limits. So it's kind of like a tactical SRPG. And I feel like the gameplay is extremely interesting. If you want to see a little bit of that, look up Bakery Girl in the channel. There should be a playlist of it, but you can also search it in the search bar. And the demo actually was a very generous 2 chapters. 2 chapters doesn't sound like a whole lot, but 2 chapters, which is also, I think, I want to say about 8 to 12 stages, which is a lot. They basically gave us 10 to 12 hours 10 to 12 hours worth of demo for a limited amount of time when it did come out, and it's supposed to be released in a couple of weeks fully. So I'm really looking forward to that, as well as a lot of people who are fans of the Girls Frontline games. So yeah, that's basically what it is. Amy being stingy with her 6, if she has the 6. Waiting for a lot of indies, but zero interest in any AAA announcement. How about the 4A announcement? Apparently there's a 4A game coming out, which is a joke, by the way. It's like quadruple A game? Nah, that doesn't exist. They want it to exist, but no, that's not a thing. I mean, I guess if we're talking triple A games, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth came out recently, and I'm still on the fence with actually trying any of the Final Fantasy remake stuff, just because I don't like what they did with the story. They made it a little bit too different for my taste, personally. As a person who's played the original Final Fantasy VII multiple times, I felt like, yeah, it's a little bit milking the series, the game, which they've done over the years, but just because it's been really popular with the people that played it at the time it came out. And I get it. I have seen a lot of spoilery stuff on YouTube, so if I do play it, I wouldn't be able to play it on stream. That's one thing. Did they change the story? To a degree, yes, but the direction of how they changed it, I mean, there's some key moments that are still the same, but the reason why everything is happening, I don't like that direction. So it's kind of like, I'll just watch other people play it. It's fine. And I could never finish 7 because we had scratched second disc on PlayStation. I never tried another version. Oh no. Oh no. Well, if you ever do want to play the original Final Fantasy VII, I think they do have it available on Steam. However, I also hear that version on Steam is not stable. So, question mark on if you actually want to do that or not. They have it on Steam, they have it on Switch even, surprisingly enough. Steam version is goofy. That's what I heard. That's definitely what I heard. Anyway, the original Final Fantasy VII I think is pretty good by itself. I am still curious what they want to do with the remake, and I really can't judge the remake until everything is done. But so far from what I've seen, there are some good moments. There are some good moments in the remake. However, overall, I have mixed feelings with it. As a purist, I guess, if you want to call it that. And having played the original, but it's kind of like, yeah, why aren't you guys pawning? You are scaring me, because pawning, I don't care to do it if I don't have to. Yeah. I usually try to keep my hand closed, but if I have to open it up, then I will. And that's how you, and that's, I wouldn't necessarily say that is a high level mahjong, but it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing. I know, I'm still waiting for what the overall story of the remake is going to be before I make any critical judgment on it, though I have sort of kind of already made some judgments on it.
No.
Frickin' A. Frickin' A. This is revenge. Oh, this is definitely revenge. Amy, come on. Ow. Pain. Well, you didn't get me to negatives, but it's still fourth place, so all right. Let me have a shot really quick, and we will see where it takes me. I'm gonna open up the fourth slot here for anyone else who wants to join. So I'm just gonna put the link here. Congratulations, Amy, for winning. Fourth slot is open for anyone who wants to join, and I will be taking a shot. I think it's just shot number 2, which is kind of surprising. And this will be the last shot for today. If I get fourth place in the next game, which is gonna be the last game, by the way. Yeah, the next game is gonna be the last game for today. And what was I thinking? We might do a little bit of a Zatsu, we might do a little bit of random stuff afterwards. But as far as Mahjong, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna open a can to accompany you, so don't get wasted alone. I'm not gonna get wasted, not on 2 shots. Friday and enjoying it, man. I wish I didn't have to work tomorrow, but you know, I can't get too drunk. Oh, that went down like water. I pretty much went down like water. Well, it doesn't taste like water, but it's smooth like water. So I guess it's kind of the same. 3 margaritas, but do you have them consecutively or do you have something in between? I am drinking water in between, and I think the last shot I had was about 1 hour ago, if I'm not mistaken. So while it hasn't digested and hasn't gone out of my system, I'm a little bit more sober, you know, after an hour. Also, I don't know what goes in a margarita, so I don't know how strong those things are. Do snacks count? It depends on how much snacks you have. Oh yeah, probably. So if you're ready, hit ready up, and I will add the AI once the last person readies up. Snacks? Yeah, it depends on how dense it is. Like, let's say you eat fries in between drinks, and you eat a decent amount of fries, yeah, probably that counts. But if you just have like 1 or 2 fries, that's not gonna absorb anything. That's not gonna slow any alcohol down. So probably not. Actually, probably not. The thing with food and alcohol is you need to have, I guess, something that slows down the alcohol. I don't know. Is carbs are usually a good thing to have with alcohol so that the carbs soaks up the alcohol? I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. If you just have like a sausage or some meat, it probably won't slow it down at all. Had a huge curry dinner earlier, so feel good about that. That will slow it down for sure. That will slow it down. That's actually a lot of food. Curry and alcohol. I didn't think about that. What would pair good with a curry? I think sours would be good, right? I mean, beer and probably also. Hey Mars, welcome. Are you winning, son? I won a couple of games earlier. I lost the recent one. At least this one's not ranked. Speaking of ranked, I de-ranked earlier, which was not fun. But here we are. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things that beer pairs up with, so... And I'm saying that not as a beer drinker, but, you know, if it's bitter, you know, bitter beer with dessert, I think it works pretty well. I know a lot of people like to pair wine with dessert, but sometimes you want some... I guess if you do that, it's gonna have to be like a dry wine. You can't have a sweet wine with dessert, otherwise it becomes too sweet. And I've had sweet wines before, which are way, way too sweet. Way too sweet. Chicken curry is great. Haven't played this again in ages. Have you played Mahjong at all, Mars? I'm just curious. Have you played Mahjong at all before? Like this, the Rishi Mahjong rules specifically. I know there's like different rules in other places, but as far as online Mahjong, it's mostly Rishi Mahjong. So this is what we know. I don't think I've actually played any other Mahjong variants, which is basically only in person anyway. So let's see. Mahjong Souls and Yakuza, so they both share the same rules. They both share the same rules. I have played Mahjong in real life before, and we always use the Japanese rules just because that's what we're used to. So there was that. Mahjong puzzle does not count. I hate to say it, but it does not count. If only because that is mostly not Mahjong at all. That is not Mahjong at all. That's kind of like dominoes, basically, except dominoes with more tiles that you can match. Yeah, so if anyone says that's Mahjong and that's the Mahjong they play, no. Tell them no. Be very judgmental of that person. Tell them no. They're playing a super version of dominoes or matching picture tiles. That's not Mahjong. They're using Mahjong tiles, but it's not Mahjong. Oh, you know what I want to do one of these days? We should do like something like Words with Friends, except it's either going to be PvP 1 versus 1 or a group. I don't know if there's a group version, but if we can do 1v1 on stream, I would do it. Do that. Maybe even chess, I don't know. Just to shake up Mahjong Night a little bit. Trying to play domino right now. Not necessarily Words with Friends. I know there's a online version that's not Words with Friends. I have to ask my friends again what that one is. What just happened? I'm not sure, but I won. I won. That's what happened. Cards Against Humanity is better with a group of people. I guess the other version of Cards of Humanity that we can play on stream, not necessarily Cards Against Humanity, but the Jackbox games. I know that used to be a huge thing in general, and I think I have Quiplash. That's the only Jackbox game I have. I don't have anything else. Maybe we try Quiplash or something like that one time. At least you don't need the game if we do that. Just anyone who has a room code can come in. Which is probably the easiest way to join a game. Jackbox games are better also if you have someone else on stream besides me with what do you call this? You know, like someone co-hosting the stream, and the chat also joins in. If it's just chat and the streamer, I don't know how well that actually works. I haven't seen enough people do that, but co-hosting and then plus chat, I think that would be fun. Online Uno? Don't you need Uno for that, or is there a different version of online Uno that I'm not aware of? Because online Uno with Ubisoft is a pain in the butt to work with, and I kind of don't want to do that again. There's this mode in Gartic Phone where you only need to write prompts. Those are underrated. Yeah, I think with Gartic Phone, I haven't done Gartic Phone on this channel before. Though I do kind of want to do that. Though I do also know that some people cannot be trusted in Gartic Phone, which is probably why I haven't done it. Actually, some people cannot be trusted in Gartic Phone because they will just draw whatever. But if it's not drawing and it's just prompts, well, that's also... I can't trust some people with that. Maybe if we ever get to have memberships on here, that would make more sense. So it can be like a member-only Gartic Phone or member-only kind of thing for drawing and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's a little bit dangerous. It's a little bit dangerous. Revenge! Revenge. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. Revenge. Yeah. Anyway. An artist that have integrity proceeds to draw sus stuff. Oh, speaking of which, not the drawing part. There's another game that a friend of mine also played on stream with their chat. Called what is it called? You're basically like a monarch, and like different clans are trying to overthrow the monarch and trying to win at the same time. That's the one I'm thinking of. Fem Ruka in Gartic Phone, I mean, that'd be fine, and you can even do that separately outside of Gartic Phone. But I don't trust the. I don't know. I don't trust some people with drawing like not drawing not safe for work stuff. That's what I want to say. That's what I meant. Watch your discards. I haven't even noticed any discards in this entire time I've been streaming today. That's how I've been playing this entire stream and all the past Mahjong streams, to be honest, which I probably should stop doing because it's costing me ranked. It's costing me ranked. How many points do I need to get to Adept 2? I need to get 270 points. That is a long way to not be paying attention, which is really, really bad. Personally, really, really bad. I am barely using 1% of my power to play Mahjong. I don't know how that makes me feel. It should make me feel bad, but... Press the wrong one! Well... Press the right one next time. Press the right one next time. Let's see. Now I'm just since we got to the party game stuff, I'm kind of like trying to think what all the other party games can we do that would make sense to be able to do. King of the Castle, I think is what it's called. I'm not sure if that's what it's actually called, but that one seems to be fun. Up for anything, yeah. I just kind of have to like pick a date, announce it way ahead of time. Maybe replace that for Mahjong Night one day. We'll see. we'll see we'll see what we can come up with. But it's also like, are people gonna be available for this thing? That's the other thing. Timing is a little bit difficult sometimes. But I'll see what we can come up with. We'll see what we can come up with. Because while I do like doing Mahjong, and there's entire channels built on, and there's entire channels that only do Mahjong. I know what do you call this? I know not everyone can participate in this because they don't really get it, I guess. But I still like playing this. I still like playing this, so I don't know. Maybe I do it in the middle of the week so we can still do Mahjong and also something new. If it's this time slot, yeah, the weekend, the Saturdays are usually good. Not Saturdays, Fridays are usually good. Saturdays and Sundays are a little bit iffy. If it's Sunday, I have to do it in the morning because somehow, for some reason, Sunday morning seems to work decently well. I don't really understand that, but it seems to work decently well. Saturday, people are off doing their own thing, and go do off your own thing, please. But Saturdays are rough. Saturdays are rough. Streaming wise, it is. I wish I can like stream more mornings. Actually, it's just not possible for the most part. Yeah, the thing about Mahjong is you learn by doing. And if you can at least get if you can at least match what you have, basically playing dominoes, that's actually perfectly fine. That's a very valid way to play Mahjong. The other thing you have to like just keep an eye on is making sure you don't mix your 1s and 9s in your hand if you're not going for entirely 1s, 9s, and special picture stuff. Let's just say special picture stuff. Because that will actually ruin your hand. And make it very difficult for you to win. Now, as far as Mahjong theory, there's a lot of Mahjong theories out there, specifically about what to discard, when to discard, how to get the optimum discards to be always ready for a win. However, I feel like most of the time you don't need to think that deeply unless you're trying to, I guess, rank and try to be the best of the best. Sometimes intuition is just perfectly fine. But if you don't know where to start, definitely the tips on how to discard, when to discard, are not a bad place to start. And the AI is taunting. Why? Absolutely why? Oh, there are no good things to discard here. Oh, I found one. Okay. I said I wasn't paying attention on what's happening on the table, but I am partly paying attention. I am using at least 1% of my Mahjong power, whatever how high that Mahjong power actually is. I'm honestly not sure, but it's there somewhere. And I actually probably would have won by now if I kept those 1 bamboos in my hand, but I didn't. So I'm still struggling, clawing my way up to get a working hand. So it's rough. It is very rough. Mahjong be rough sometimes if you play badly. Anyway. Oh, I think the second shot of alcohol is taking effect. I say that because I'm like slowing down just a little bit. Ah, I see. I think I know who has my tiles. The NPC, the AI has my tiles. GG's, everyone. GG's. GG's. Alright. So that's the last game for tonight. Thank you for playing, but I kind of want to do something here at the end. Revenge was gotten? Yeah. At least I'm better than the AI? Yeah, for the most part. So for the most part, you did better than the AI. I'm thankful though that the AI didn't act up this time around, because sometimes even AI easy acts up like really weirdly and beats everyone. If you use normal AI, it will beat you, I want to say 60% of the time, which is quite a bit. But the easy AI is a lot easier, obviously. And we got a furry here, apparently. She's a very cute furry for this event. I wish I could roll, but I cannot. I'm not a furry, but she cute. Is she in the summons? She is in the summons. She is in the summons. Oh, wait, I can summon once. Let's see. Are we gonna get lucky? Just one summon. Just one summon. Nope. There's no luck here, apparently. We got a wine glass. If I had this wine glass in real life, that'd be great. Fighting games, I'm not a huge. I mean, I like fighting games, but I like watching fighting games more than playing them. You know what I mean? I'm more of a spectator when it comes to fighting games. Though, let's see. Do I have? No, I don't have any old school fighting games that I do wanna put on stream. Though I have some like really weird PS1 era fighting games that might be interesting these days. Like, you've probably heard of Guilty Gear if you've heard of fighting games, right? Guilty Gear originally was a PlayStation 1 game. And I think the popular Guilty Gear that came after the original was Guilty Gear XX Reload. And that one's actually pretty good mechanically and everything else. However, the original Guilty Gear game was hilariously broken. It was hilariously broken in ways that is just kind of funny. Let's go to the chatting room really quick, because I think this background music is a little bit loud. It's chatting room. I'm gonna close this thing and ignore the sticky note. I was not expecting to use this screen today, so I haven't had a chance to change it. XX Reload is fine. I mean, mechanically speaking, those are fine. Okay, this is a aside of many asides. I am not a huge fan of what Guilty Gear has become. I am not a fan of the 3D Guilty Gear stuff. It just seems a little too stiff. I much prefer the 2D sprites from back in the day. And if they kept the 2D sprites up to these days, I feel like it would have been great. But they went 3D, and I despise it. I despise that. Mechanically speaking, I have nothing I can say about that, because I'm not a fighting game person. Though I hear a lot of people, I think they were okay with it for the most part. Like if you did modern Guilty Gear with the same arts or with the same sprites as the Persona 4 fighting games, I think that would have been fine. I don't know how old the Persona 4 fighting games are these days, though. There's a one-hit party fighting game called Sklash. It's fun. Matches usually last 20 seconds. Sklash. Let me look that up really quick so that we know what it looks like. I've never heard of this before. I know there's another weird fighting game where it's all dive kicks. And I forgot which one that is. Ah, okay. Let me bring that up on Steam so that we can all see it. Can I open up Steam on here? Where is it? Steam, where art thou? Guess it's gonna be like this. Steam? Okay. So this is Sklash, apparently. It's like a 2D Bushido Blade. That was it. Has anyone ever heard of Bushido Blade? It's basically like this, except Bushido Blade was 3D. And I think they had 2 games out on the PS2, and they didn't go further than that for whatever reason. And Bushido Blade is kind of funny as a fighting game per se, because normally when you see fighting games, you think combos and all these crazy mix-up and stuff, right? But no, Bushido Blade is basically real-life combat in the game. So if you get hit once, depending on how bad the hit was, you're either maimed or dead. So I feel like that's kind of what this is. I feel like that's what this is, except this is 2D and Bushido Blade was 3D. Have an original copy. I'm waiting for it to become $1,000 worth. Oh my, how much is it right now? I'm gonna check eBay really quick. eBay Bushido Blade. How much are you? I'm not gonna put it on screen, but I just want to see it really quick. Let's see. Black label Bushido Blade, complete with manual, $45, $40, $15, $35, $5. It's actually on the low end. I'm very surprised. Bushido Blade 2, $10. So if you wanted a really, really cheap collectible from back in the day, you can get it really, really cheap off eBay right now. And this is the American version, by the way, not the PAL version. So this is like NSTC. No, NSTC Japan is $19. And that one is cheap as heck. The US version is around $35. So also pretty darn cheap considering how collectibles are. Compare that to what I had to pay for my collection of Atelier games, Atelier Iris games from the PS1 era, or was it PS2? Atelier Iris. I'm just gonna look up Atelier Iris in eBay because that's the only place you can find them. Atelier Iris 2, $45. Atelier Iris, the first one, $70. Another Iris 2 at $56. Iris Original, the first one, $76. Iris went all the way up to 3, and Iris 3 I haven't found yet on here. Oh, I found some. Atelier Iris 3 for the PlayStation 2. Anywhere from at least $90 to $153. I don't think I paid that much for mine, but you can see how expensive it can get for something like that from back in the day. I hate to call this vintage games, but it's essentially vintage games at this point. These are PlayStation 2 era games that sell for a decent lot. The first Atelier must be a decent catch. Well, the thing about the first Atelier is that was a PlayStation 1 game, Japan only, So yeah, it might be, to be honest. But if they ported that on the Switch like last year, I think, and the Switch version is perfectly fine. It's 3D, it's chibi 3D. It's just which is cute, I guess. But if you wanted the original, you're gonna have to find it either in Japan or someone who has a Japanese copy because those are the only ones that exist. If you're really wanting to play them translated, I don't know if they even have a ROM translation for it. So yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard to get, among other things. Let's see. Capcom publisher sale. So I guess Capcom has a sale right now. The Mega Man Gacha game that became a not gacha game but has all the gacha game quirks and balancing, which is absolutely terrible for that. Do not recommend. How much is a Steam OLED anyway? I kept on thinking about wanting to get a Steam Deck, but I never actually. 650 for the most expensive one. Do you actually need 1 TB though? Do you actually need 1 TB on the Steam Deck? I mean, I guess more is better. If you're into monster hunting, I recommend World. I've actually tried one Monster Hunter back in the Vita era. I think it was Monster Hunter 2. Or was it Monster Hunter Freedom Unite? It was one of those two. And people back in the day were really huge into Monster Hunter. I tried it to see what the deal was about, and I just could not get into it. It was a little bit too grindy for me, and basically, at the time, I was basically getting out of my MMO phase. Like, MMO RPGs were the thing for much of early 2000s, right? And I was getting out of my phase at that time because a lot of MMOs at that time were like not really that great. I think FF14 didn't exist then. FF11 was on a console basically that I didn't have, and when I saw footage of it, I didn't really think it was going to be my thing, so I didn't touch it. And even now, MMOs really still aren't my thing, just because it takes a lot of time and dedication to play them. Like, how far is FF14 these days? If you think about it, it is very far. I do not have that kind of time. And if I were to pick up now, I would have to dedicate a lot of time on it, which I rather spend on something else, something smaller that's easier to digest for my consumption anyway. Find a deck more price worthy than a PS5. I find a deck more price worthy than a PS5. You can emulate anything on the deck. Yeah. I think my last PlayStation console was the PS3. And when I found out the PS4 started not having any physical disc, I think that was like, nope, not for me. And if I think about it, that was probably a good thing anyway, because on the PS4 and the PS5, there isn't really any games I would want anyway. And the last time I bought a console, which was the PS3, I did have quite a few games on it that that I did like, but I also ended up getting on other systems that were more portable, and I much prefer the portable version. All right, thanks for dropping by, Amy. Thanks for playing also. I'm going to be closing out here soon. Anyway, I just kind of got off on a tangent. But yeah, yeah, as far as consoles go, I think the only consoles I'll touch these days, I have the Switch. I haven't actually touched the Switch in a while, but I keep the Switch because it's good for like ring fit and fitness boxing. I haven't done fitness boxing on it because in a while on it because it's like I have the original fitness boxing, and it's okay if you want to get some cardio in, but the music selection is not great. It's also a way more repetitive than Ring Fit. Ring Fit, I actually got super far into Ring Fit, and then I started streaming, and then I kind of fell off. So I need to get back into exercising again, and um, just haven't found the motivation to. But it's at least there for that. The Steam Deck, if I were to get a Steam Deck, at least I have some games on the Steam Deck I would like to be able to do. Like, what do you call this? Like the roguelites. Roguelites on Steam Deck, I think would be absolutely great. Hey, Laziness, welcome. How's it going? Boyfriend is really into Ring Fit. I think about Ring Fit is basically Ring Fit. If you haven't seen or know anything about it, is it's basically Pilates. I didn't know what Pilates was, but Pilates is exercising with a flexible ring, and it has to be a flexible ring that can take on a lot of punishment. And while you're not going to get huge muscles or anything like that, what it does do is improve your strength. And the Pilates itself does not really do cardio, but it does also improve your stamina and cardio. I guess in general, the Ring Fit is good if you want to increase your stamina and increase your base strength. It's not gonna make you stronger than, say, if you were lifting. Lifting is a whole different thing. But yeah, it's pretty good if you just want to like basically get toned. And yes, you can also lose a lot of weight from it. I think when I did the Ring Fit, when it first came out, I did that fairly regularly, at least 3 times a week is what my schedule was for the Ring Fit. 3 times a week for at least 30 active minutes on the Ring Fit, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but that ends up being roughly an hour in real time because there's a lot of dead time with loading and waiting and all that stuff. So it ends up being an hour on the Ring Fit total each day for 3 days a week. You can do more, but I did that as minimum, and it worked out fairly well. And I think within 6 months, I lost about 15 pounds, which is pretty good. Diet wise, I think what I did diet wise was intermittent fasting, and also keeping a little bit close eye on my calories, but I didn't do anything too special. Like I tried keto for a little bit, but I didn't really like doing that. So basically I just ate what I could, and basically ate what I wanted as long as it fit within macros. I did the whole macro thing. And yeah, I lost 15 pounds in about 6 months, which doesn't sound like a whole lot for 6 months, but overall it was pretty good. And then I started streaming, and then and then it kind of fell apart. It feels bad. It feels bad. But I need to get back on that. It's like I still feel decently strong-ish and healthy-ish, but my activity is much worse than it used to be. So I need to at least be a little bit more active. But I keep giving myself an excuse. I need to work on this video and not actually work on the video. So I need to at least put in the time to exercise a little bit before I do something else, at least 3 times a week. But am I actually going to do it? Find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to end here for today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. And if you participated, thank you for participating and listening, I guess. If you listened in the random stuff that happened during stream. But yeah, I will hopefully have a schedule up next week for the channel. And when I say schedule, it's just gonna be waiting rooms in the channel because I don't do the whole listing out the schedule thing like most people do. So just FYI, if anyone's actually looking for a physical schedule, it's just gonna be waiting rooms on the YouTube channel. So if anyone who is in Twitch, if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, that is the main channel. So please check that out. The link for it should be in the About section there. And if you're already in YouTube, thank you. Thank you for being there. But I do stream to Twitch every once in a while, especially on Mahjong night, so we can get a bigger pool of people. And I guess we didn't see any Mahjong people from Twitch this time around. So anyway, hopefully we'll hope for better next time. And also, I'm gonna see if we can do something other than Mahjong one of these days. I'm not gonna promise next time, but one of these days we'll see if we can do something other than Mahjong. But I still want to do Mahjong, so I'll figure it out. All right, see everyone. Have a good rest of your day and get some rest. Bye-bye. See you later.